An atheist journalist thought he had the perfect argument, until Caroline Leavitt hit him with a story that changed everything. The stage was set. Bright studio lights beamed down on the sleek, modern set of American Perspectives Tonight, a primetime show known for its intense political and cultural debates. At the center of it all, Caroline Leavitt, a rising political firebrand, poised, composed, and ready. Across from her sat Alan Brooks, a veteran journalist with a reputation for being sharp, unfiltered, and absolutely relentless. Millions were watching. The anticipation? Thick. Not just in the studio, but across the country. Officially, the debate was marketed as a discussion on leadership and policy, but everyone knew this was going to be bigger. Caroline had built her name on standing firm, never backing down from tough conversations. Alan? He was infamous for pushing his guests into uncomfortable corners, exposing what he saw as flaws in their arguments. For the first 20 minutes, it was the usual back and forth, economic policies, government regulations, social issues. Standard. Caroline handled the rapid-fire questioning effortlessly, delivering confident, well-prepared responses. She wasn't just a politician. She was a skilled communicator, someone who knew how to connect with an audience, even beyond the studio walls. And then, Alan shifted. Just slightly. His eyes narrowed, a subtle movement, but one a seasoned debater would catch. He was about to change tactics. This wasn't just about policy anymore. It was about something deeper. The energy in the room shifted. It was as if everyone, the producers, the camera crew, even the audience, sensed what was coming. Caroline, Alan began, his voice steady, measured. You often talk about your faith as a guiding principle in your leadership. You've even said that faith should play a role in shaping public policy. She nodded, waiting. But let's be honest, he continued, leaning forward. Religion, Christianity in particular, is declining in this country. Fewer people than ever believe in a higher power. Science has given us answers that religion never could. Yet you still advocate for faith, as if it's some universal truth. Why? A murmur rippled through the studio. Caroline didn't react immediately. She let the question sit. She absorbed the weight of it. This wasn't just about her personal beliefs. Alan was challenging the very relevance of faith itself. I ask because, Alan pressed on, there are millions of people who see faith as nothing more than an outdated crutch, something that holds people back instead of moving them forward. Do you think that's fair? Or are you just unwilling to admit that faith is losing its place in modern America? The room felt smaller, tighter. People shifted in their seats. The cameras zoomed in. Every flicker of emotion, every hesitation, it was all on display. Alan had just thrown a match into dry grass. The only question was, would Caroline let it burn, or put it out with something unexpected? She didn't rush. She took a breath, tilted her head slightly, and then just the faintest hint of a smile, because she knew exactly what to say next. Alan leaned back, tapping his pen against the desk, waiting. The audience was waiting. The silence in the studio wasn't awkward. It was electric. You say faith is an outdated crutch. Caroline finally spoke, her voice steady. That it holds people back. But let me ask you something, Alan. She tilted her head. What do people turn to when science doesn't have an answer? Alan's lips twitched, but he didn't interrupt. You see, she continued, it's easy to dismiss faith when life is comfortable, when everything makes sense, when your job is secure, when your family is healthy. But what happens when the ground disappears beneath you? Her voice lowered slightly. When your child is dying in a hospital bed, when you're staring at a casket, when the doctors say there's nothing more they can do, what do you reach for then? Dead silence. Even the producers, normally whispering behind the cameras, were frozen. Alan adjusted his tie, but didn't break eye contact. Caroline, people turn to faith because they're desperate. That doesn't make it real. That makes it comforting. She nodded slightly, as if she had expected that response. Comfort isn't weakness, she said. It's human. And faith? It's more than comfort. It's resilience. It's hope. It's the belief that, even in the darkest moments, there's still meaning. You can call that naive, but I'd argue it's what has kept people from collapsing under the weight of suffering for thousands of years. Alan exhaled through his nose, shifting in his chair. So, you're saying belief is necessary for survival? I'm saying belief is what makes survival worth something. Alan studied her. No immediate retort, and Caroline leaned in slightly. But if you really want to know why I believe in faith, why I defend it, it's not because of history. It's not because of politics.
She paused.
It's because of a woman I met 12 years ago. A slight furrow appeared between Alan's brows. A woman. Caroline nodded, her voice softening slightly. Her name was Margaret, and she taught me something about faith that no debate could ever shake. And what came next?